Hello and welcome to TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers. I'm Dr. Gina Rhodes. Let's get started. This week on TTELT, we're going to learn about English or ESL clubs from Khetam Dahi. Khetam and I work together in Los Angeles, and now she's full-time at East Los Angeles College and also an author of several books. And she was also the initiator and founder for the East Los Angeles College ESL Club. And we're going to learn so many things about how to start an ESL club. So let's get started.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going? Khetam, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Khetam Dahi. I'm a professor of ESL, English and Reading at East Los Angeles College. And well, I immigrated here when I was 13 with my family. I didn't speak any word of English at that time, not even the alphabet. We didn't know anything. Came from a village directly to North Hollywood. And went to junior high here and high school and studied fashion design. And 14 years later, I went back and got my MA in English Comp with TESOL concentration. So that's me.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
That's quite a road that you've taken. Yeah. So, Khetam, you said that you started an ESL club at your school?
Yes.
And what was the process? Why did you decide to start an ESL club at your school?
Well, I decided because when I was in college, I was an ESL student myself when I came here. And when I went back to college, after 14 years of being away from school, I landed in a class where the English professor was the advisor of the English club at Cal State San Bernardino. And I became, she was, promoting the club, and if you want to be a member, and I thought, oh, that sounds so cool. And so I became one of the members, and then they loved my enthusiasm and energy and, people's skills, that they wanted me to be an officer on the board. And it just was one of the best college experiences of my life, because I got to learn how to plan and organize and collaborate with, other students and key people on campus. And we organized activities and protests, and we voiced our opinions and had parties that were campus wide. We invited the president and deans, and we made a name for ourselves, the international. Then I became part of the International Student Club, and then was kind of like, I used to MC the parties, and we had people from all over the world. Lots of Saudi Arabian students were on that campus, and they provided so much food and funded themselves, funded a lot of the parties, but they loved it because they wanted to experience that, as international students. But anyways, when I, became a full-time faculty at East Los Angeles College, and we didn't have an ESL club, I used to see people, clubs everywhere on campus, raising money and selling food, and started asking around, and sure enough, they didn't have one. And I thought, let me get some of my students excited about it. And within a couple of weeks, I got like 15 people. You needed like 10 people with ASU numbers to begin a club. And from that, we had 91 people. And then it just kept growing and growing. I still believe that it is the largest club on campus right now, at one of the largest campuses in the LA Community College District. So after, in 2018, it was the 10th year anniversary of the club, and we had a huge banquet and invited former members since for the last 10 years. They came out and we paid for their tickets, and it was so beautiful because we had table 2008, table 2010, and it was beautiful. But then I became the vice chair of the department and I couldn't do both, so I had to let it go. And luckily, a wonderful, wonderful full-timer, a new probe, was able to take it on with another adjunct as co-advisor, and they're doing an amazing job, and even virtually. But I have to tell you about all the virtual stuff that they do.
Oh, please do tell us about all the virtual things they do.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you say now it's the largest club on campus. How many students are members right now?
Well, it's, you know how it goes. It's like once they finish the ESL series, they kind of don't come to the meetings anymore, but they're active somehow. They come to the banquets, and some of them, of course, they go to universities. We don't see them anymore. But most of our students in our classes want to be part of the club because it's a word of mouth that, you know, you need to belong to this club, because you learn about scholarships, you learn about transferring to universities, you learn about, you know, the guest speakers that come to tell you about financial aid. They come and tell you about admissions. They come and explain to you, you know, whatever you need, we'll bring them to you, you know. And then they do a lot of volunteer activities that they can put on their resumes when they, because, you know, now universities don't just ask for the GPA, but they ask for, you know, how involved are you in the community? How active were you on campus? Are you just, you know, a follower, or are you a leader? You know, are you a volunteer where you're not expecting to get anything in return, but rather you want to give? So I believe we create a culture of giving, a culture of volunteerism, you know, where you are actively giving to the community. And I think that's a great characteristic in humans that we need. But,
okay, so you've got so most of the ESL students in your college are members of the club. Mm-hmm. And you've told me about a lot of the different projects that you're doing. You have guest speakers who come, you have banquets. Do you have a banquet every semester or every year?
So most of the time it's every semester, because the board members are gonna move on a lot of the time. So we want to culminate what they've done. They've raised money, they've, you know, done their work. So then we have a ceremony at the banquet where we pass on the baton to the new board members, and they wear sashes, you know, president, vice president, treasurer, historian, you know, public relations officer, and delegates, and then they pass on those sashes to the new board members. And it's just really, it has become a ritual that people want to be part of. And it's, you know, the people that lead the club usually are so enthusiastic. Some people have taken them under their wings as members, and they kind of train them to be board members the following semester. And this is how it's been working out. We kind of spot the leaders, and we tell them, look, next semester you're gonna submit your name for elections, you know, and you could be this, you could be that, could be a great treasurer, you could be a great historian. And they get the confidence and they want to be that the following semester. So
that's fabulous. And what type of fundraisers do they do?
So when we were face-to-face, when, you know, I was there, or Professor Maria Betancourt is now the new advisor, and Allison Bruins is the adjunct advisor. When we were face-to-face, they were doing food sales every week and meeting every week also. So they met every Tuesday during college hour, where students, you know, and faculty could attend if they wanted to. And then on Thursdays, they would sell food. And
what kind of food?
Oh, it was fun because, you know, when you have an international club like this, so sometimes it was Chinese food, some, you know, boba drinks were always there, part of the menu, hot dogs, you know, wrapped with bacon, and a lot of the times it was, you know, healthy salads or fruit cups that they would cut.
Are these is it the students who are making these foods, or are they bringing in people?
No, we make them. We make everything. I mean, the first time when I was the advisor, the first time we had a food sale on campus, the students and I bought tons of chicken, and we did skewers, the Arabic way, and barbecued 200 skewers in my house, and we took them to campus in foil, and we cooked rice and made salad, and it was in the newspaper that we made $600 that day.
Wow. Selling chicken skewers, they sound delicious. I want some.
It was healthy. The plates looked really beautiful, but so the students usually the board members decide who will be taking care of this food sale. So they alternate, each group will alternate. They'll go to Costco, they'll go get all the stuff. And we have a cabinet, especially in the English department, that I fought for to have to store our items. And they just do it all there. Of course, everybody that handles the food, they had to go through ASU and take the food handling exam. So they had to follow all the food rules, how you know. And
I'm sure that there are a lot of people that don't know what ASU is. Can you explain that?
So the Associated Student Union, usually if let's say you raise $1,000 and you show them receipts, you can submit a request to get match funding. So you make 1,000, they'll give you another 1,000. So the more you raise, the more you get. So this way you could take your students on a trip to a theme park, to have a huge party. Those banquets are funded by the money that we usually raise. And ASU just raise as much as you want and then submit. If you get it, you get it. You don't, there's always something that they give you. And most of the time we get matched for the money.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, students who come here, a lot of them don't drive. And so we also sometimes pay a bus to take them to universities. We do tours. We take them to Universal Studios, SeaWorld, Disneyland, whatever. Not
it's the board members who decide what the activities are going to be?
No, during the meetings, they ask students to, give them ideas, and they put like 5-10 ideas on the board and they vote. So the members actually get to vote on the activities. They give them options, and sometimes they ask them, if we don't have enough funding, do you want to do the banquet, or do you want to go on a trip? Or do you want to go to a theme park? So they get to choose which one they want to do. But virtually, it's been very interesting and challenging at the same time. So they have been using so many apps and different kinds of ways to stay connected and still do some kind of fundraising, but it has not been as successful virtually. They're just doing other activities. They meet regularly and they have agendas that they share. They use Google Docs. They use MetaStream to watch movies together. Like they're going to have a Halloween night movie. They're going to have, they have a MasterChef competition right now, which I submitted the bread video to, making the bread. So faculty and students are submitting their videos on recipes. So they could be TikTok videos or any kind of YouTube video that they've created. So they're going to give a prize on the 30th and watch a scary movie.
That sounds great. Those are some great online projects to do. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so there's like MetaStream and Tuturu, which is another way of, because on Zoom you're limited. You cannot show even 10 minutes of a film. You cannot show it to your students through Zoom. Mm-hmm. We tried to. So they figured out ways. They saw that Tuturu and MetaStream you could do that with I think up to 25 people. Yeah, so there are some limitations, but they're learning how to overcome and how to find other ways to stay connected. But
that's great that they're finding all of these workarounds to make the system work, even though they're still online. I love it. Yeah. And just to be clear, all of the board members are students, right?
Yes, all the board members have to be students, because to be part of the club, even as a member, you have to have an ASU number, which means you paid your dues, the $7 fee for health and parking and all that. So they give you a number that is a sticker you put on your ID. So when you become a board member, you must submit the copy of your ID and your ASU number. So no outsiders, no.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all students, and so they have to prove that they are a current student at the college, and all the board members have to show that they're current students at the college. Okay.
Yeah, and to be a member, just a member, to show up to the meetings and to benefit from all the the activities, and they also have to pay $5 per semester. And at that time, they have to show their number too. They have to show that they are a paid ASU member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to keep it, the students are a student club. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we kind of use them because they advertise for our classes on their social media pages. They really get the word out there and, say, hey, ELAC is offering these classes this semester, and so professor is teaching this class. So, for example, in the winter, I'm teaching a grammar class. For the first time, we're offering this new intensive review of grammar, and I'm going to be teaching it. So they were like posting my flyer. I made a flyer, and they were posting it everywhere. And
I love it. It sounds like it's a really active and useful club on campus. I love that you said that there are people who come to the club meetings and talk about financial aid, and you have speakers come, and you're helping them. You have lots of different activities happening, and even volunteer activities. What are some of the volunteer activities that they've done?
They've planted trees with the Tree People. I don't know if you've heard of the organization, the Tree People. They have many programs in different universities. I think at Cal State Long Beach, they have like the water walks and in other areas, but their idea is to plant trees everywhere in the communities. And so we've gone out there a few times to plant trees with them. They have gone to local science centers and cleaned out weeds in San Pedro. They have gone to teach Trash for Teachers warehouse, where there are like tons of items that needed to be organized. Companies donate these items, and the teachers, K to 12, go there and take their students sometimes and use all these recyclable items to create projects. So I took the students there a couple of times, and they helped them organize stuff by categories, and they got to create projects there too. What what else? What else do they do? They volunteered in the mission, LA mission, to distribute food to the homeless. For Thanksgiving, we always hold a Thanksgiving dinner or lunch, and it's open to anyone. So we feed all the students turkey dinner. There's so many things that that they do. Like, what else?
Well, it sounds like they're doing a lot of amazing things, and this is only a 10-year-old club. It sounds like it's been going on forever. They've got a lot.
It's been 12 because Maria and Allison have been the advisors the last 2 years. So it's been 12 years since 2008, and it's really strong. It's still very strong. And what helps is that all the ESL faculty kind of promote the club, and a lot of them give them extra credit if they attend like 15 or 16 hours of combination of food sales or fundraisers and meetings, because they know they're going to learn new skills and they're going to interact with each other and speak English. So we do give extra credit in many cases. So a lot of students initially come for the extra credit, but then they stay. They stay throughout, and they start volunteering on their own because they love it. Yeah.
So and if a teacher wanted to create an English or an ESL club in their school, what are some things that you would, what's some advice that you would give that teacher to help their students create a club?
Well, if the teacher has to be enthusiastic to be an advisor, because it's a lot of responsibility being an advisor. It's not just, you sign forms here and there and you meet with them weekly, or when we were face to face, it's like you have to use your credit card. You have to like pay in advance because it takes months for ASU to reimburse you for many things. You have to be responsible for trips and make sure everything goes well and that all the students count, and and they're always coming to your office, the board members. There's always something, ASU said this and they said we can't sell this thing, and sometimes you add more items to your menu that you have not told them you would. And then other clubs would complain, no, you cannot repeat. I'm selling hot dogs, so you cannot sell hot dogs. And so students, they have to learn step by step, because every time you have a new board, and the advisor has to be there all the time to guide them through. And the paperwork is really difficult too. So they learn how to fill out major paperwork packets, and they have to go to the president and first to the SU, and they have to go justify, the delegates have to go and justify, why should we give you this money? And, for the longest time, we had to fight about going to theme parks, because they said no other club on campus is allowed to get match funding for theme parks. And we thought, why? They said, well, no, it's not like an activity that, it's not a learning activity. So it's not, we're not going to fund something that is Disneyland. Or we had to fight and justify that these ESL students come from different countries and they want to be part of the American culture. And part of the American culture is these theme parks, where they learn about so many things related to the American culture.
And so was this the teacher that's doing this advocating, or was it the board, the students that were advocating for how this was going to get the college to give them the funds?
Well, initially I had to teach them what to say. Because it's sometimes I would, if the board member or the delegate, their English skills are, not enough to express clearly in front, it's intimidating when you walk in and justify, because all the club delegates are there, And the ASU board members, they're really scary. They sit in like a round table and it's like being interviewed. And so when I used to see the students struggling or like being nervous, I would get in there. But eventually I learned to just prep them up, you know, and I would say, okay, if they say this, then you say that. And then they would write it down and, you know, send a couple more students with the delegate to just back them up. And they gradually learned how to justify, how to defend what they wanted. So it's, you know, the process, paperwork gets lost somewhere because the vice president is too busy. They've got many packets, many clubs. So you had to follow through and send students to the president's office and nudge them a little bit. Or sometimes, you know, the trip is like in 3 days and we haven't even had approval for the excursion forms, you know, the president has to sign and he's not there or she's not there. It's just a lot of work for the advisor, but you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
So yeah, so you're saying the main thing is that you have to be enthusiastic about it and really realize that it is going to be a lot of extra work for you as a teacher. But if you really think that this is important for your students, then you will be there for your students and advocate for them. Mm-hmm. And I see that also you're talking about that you're teaching at the beginning, you had to learn all of these skills yourself, how to advocate for the students, how to make all of these things available for your students. And then you taught those skills to those students. So you're teaching them those leadership skills. Yeah. And then you get to pull back a little yourself and let the students take the leadership roles. I think that's amazing. And it's great skills for the students.
Yeah, and I think the new advisor, Professor Betancourt and Allison, they're doing a great job because they're delegating responsibility and they're letting students be in charge, you know, and that's I respect that a lot because I see now that the board members are so active and they're just doing everything on their own with the guidance of the professors. But I think they're doing a better job than I did in a way that I used to take on too much. And over the years, you know, I learned that no, teach the students and then they can do it. They can do a lot of the jobs that I used to do. And so, yeah, so they're improving the club in many, many ways where I think I learned the hard way, but that's okay.
I think it's great. I think it's fabulous. But, you know, like you said, you were beginning the club from scratch and you have to use what you learned from when you were at your university before to get everything started for the ESL club at your new college. So I think these are all important things for anyone who wants to start a club like this on their campus. They're going to hit a lot of the same roadblocks that you did. So I think it's good to let teachers know that if they want to do this, that there will be a lot of things at the beginning that they have to go through in order to start the club.
Yeah, I mean, these clubs, we have, I think, 32 clubs on campus.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're always looking for advisors and not everybody says yes.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of extra work for you, but like you said, if it's something that you think is important and if you are good at learning the skill and then delegating it to the students, then it can be less of a burden for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, you know, at some point where we didn't have a cabinet, we didn't have space, and East Los Angeles College was in the process of building these beautiful high-tech buildings. And we were in the bungalows and I had to bring all the stuff to my garage. And my husband would have to schlep everything with me back to campus every Thursday for the food sales. And then all the extra food, I would have to bring it to our fridge and it was getting out of hand. And this is when I said to the students, we gotta fight for space, you know? So then I had to go to our dean, Our chair was part of the committee that was planning the building, you know, how the division was going to be. And our chair, Jimmy Kenny, went and fought for a cabinet for the ESL Club. And no one else has that. So we have, you know,
I mean, you have 32 clubs on campus and there's only one cabinet for the ESL Club? That's the only
yeah, they don't have in their departments, they don't have a special place. I think they use some closets or some, you know, places in their departments. But we actually have a place with a metal rolling door that locks, and yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous. Well, if you're the largest club on campus, I guess it makes sense that you have
and we fought for it. We fought.
You fought for it. And if the other clubs didn't fight for it, and maybe the next new building that's being built, maybe they'll get that they can fight.
Yeah, maybe now they all do. I don't know, but at that time it was a new idea. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know, you belong to ASU. Your club doesn't belong to the department. And then they were right, because, you know, clubs pay to ASU, not to their departments.
Right.
But we did it, and it's just so much learning that takes place, you know, on the part of the advisor and the students. And you build families. Literally, a lot of students feel like when they come to the meeting, they're coming to their second family away from home. And they know if they need any help with homework, if they need any help with, you know, they're struggling financially, they're struggling with family issues, and they have people to talk to about them. And we sometimes bring people from the counseling office to tell them about resources. Like, they didn't know about the men's and women's center, where, you know, they have counselors that can refer them to the right place to deal with, you know, depression or anxiety. Or we've had students who were homeless and we got them some money. We got them meals, free meals, 2 meals a day. We helped create a pantry in the English department, you know, along with our social committee members. And we all donated to it. And students, no questions asked, if they're hungry, they're thirsty, they go to that pantry and they get food. So you pull a lot of weight as a club, I think, because you're always fighting for something. Yeah.
I think that's great. I think it's great that the ESL students at your college have a voice through that club. And if there's an issue, they have a board to go to and to discuss the issue with. I think that's great. And I think around the world, if schools have English clubs, that they can use that model of having a board, even if it's not a full board, they have student officers that can lead the club and advocate for the members of the club. So yeah. I think that's great. If you want to show the Facebook page, we'd love to see it. Oh, wow. I think you can see the variety just in that picture at the top. You can see all of the different students that you have on campus.
Yes, yes. So that's the Master Chef competition that's going on right now. These are some of the photos. And, you know, we've gone hiking, we've gone to bowling, we celebrated birthdays of students. And the biggest holiday that I wanted to tell you about was the Lunar Chinese New Year holiday, where it's a campus-wide event, and we bring in a dragon, the dragon dance, and you know, we have Chinese food, and they make t-shirts all the time. Oh, they created a website where they sell the items like mugs and t-shirts and everything that says ELAC ESL Club. So that's another fundraiser now that they're doing, and they make t-shirts, different t-shirts every semester. And
oh wow! And then they sell them. That's great.
They sell them to.
You guys had fun at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah, this is me, and members could take their kids, and we pay for their kids.
Oh no. Wow, that's fabulous. Yeah. And they've got such an active Facebook page. I think having the members run this page, right?
Yeah, I used to, and then I decided, okay, whoever is the president I'll give them the password and then they will run it. And it's been like that. So that then the new advisor now has the information, but the public relations officer and who else? The president and vice president have access. Because and the historian has to like go to events and take pictures, and then they upload them to Facebook and now Instagram. And one time we did a fundraiser and we raised $4,000 in one day for the Syrian refugees.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
5 years ago. 5 years ago. And we sent the money to the World Food Program.
What was the fundraiser?
It was at the local park in Monterey Park City. We invited a lot of faculty and students and what was it? My nephew, who owns a few restaurants, brought his team and they donated all the food. They made tacos and burritos all day long for free. And we sold those plates. We sold each plate for $5. And then other people just donated money, because at that time, if you remember, the Syrians were fleeing Syria and going to Turkey, and a lot of people were drowning.
I'm really excited about the workshop you're going to do on January 29th at 6:30 p.m. your time, right? That's going to be great.
I am too.
I knew you and Maria, it said Betancourt, Maria Betancourt, who's the current administrator, current advisor. The current advisor. That's going to be, I think the teachers are going to learn a lot from that workshop about how to get started with an English club or an ESL club, depending on what their situation is, and learn a lot about how to start one, what activities to do. Even if they already have a club at their school, they could get a lot of great ideas about things they could do at their club and fundraisers they can do at their club. I think it's going to be a great workshop.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can teachers find you if they want to find out more information? What's your email or website that you want them to go to?
For my email, you know my email, dahik@elac.edu. I do have a website, khetamdahi.com. Instagram, Khetam Dahi. Facebook, Khetam Dahi. And then the English department website has my information there. So www.elac.edu/ I'm gonna copy this.
Can you email me all of your links and I'll put them in the notes?
Yeah. I'll just do that.
We'll include all of this in the notes. I think that's the easiest. And you said you have a website. What's on your website?
Well, look it up.
Let's show the website.
Books on the right are the books that I wrote. They're kind of like ESL readers.
Oh, wow. So tell me the titles of your books.
So one is called The Journey. I'm sorry?
Okay, you're talking, The Journey of an Immigrant. Okay, this one?
The Journey of an Immigrant. There's Uprooted, Voices Unheard, and Lessons Learned, and then The Mulberry Tree.
You said that there was an ESL
help. And then I just have links, links to help, whether it's teachers or students who wanted good links, good websites for different things. I can add your blog there, or
we would love that. That would be fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is
whatever.
These links are for teachers.
Some it says for teachers, and the rest, like grammar websites where students can do practice, collocation. This is for teachers, yeah. And short stories that are free, 365 ESL short stories, and grammar and reading websites and spelling and all kinds of links that I thought were useful. I would just add them there.
Great. Well, we're definitely going to have your website in the notes so people can click on your website and go to ESL Help to find all of these great links. I think the teachers are going to, this is going to be very helpful for the teachers, all of this together. I think that's great that you have this on your page.
Okay, thanks.
This is all fabulous. You're doing so much, Khetam. How do you have time to, just relax?
I don't relax. I don't relax. I need to stay busy all the time. Thank you, Gina. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and for choosing me to have this time with you.
Yes, well, I really think it's great. And yeah, so thank you very much for coming to TTLT. Khetam definitely has a lot of ideas and enthusiasm about ESL clubs. And she talks so much about all of the experience that she has with being an ESL student and being part of the ESL club at her university, and then bringing and starting that ESL club at the college where she works now. So I think that's really important. And I think the top teaching tip is to be enthusiastic about the club. If you're trying to create a club on your campus, then you're going to need that enthusiasm and that patience and be able to take that responsibility of being the advisor, the person in charge of that club. I think that's an important role to take if this is something that you want to do with your students and at your school. And you can see here that she realized that this is something that was missing from the college where she's teaching now, and that she had benefited so much from when she was at university. And now look at it, it's the biggest club on campus, and all of her students are benefiting from that club that she decided was important, and she had that enthusiasm and she was willing to put in the effort to create that club. And I think her students are learning so much. I mean, they're learning so many leadership skills, and they're learning to be able to talk with authority figures on campus and meet with a lot of these stakeholders that they wouldn't have an opportunity to meet if they hadn't been a part of this club. So I think this is really important. And I wish all schools had an English club or an ESL club. And if your school doesn't, then hopefully this episode will encourage you to create one. And to realize that the second top teaching tip is that you will need to be an advocate for the students. You're going to need to talk about the reasons that you need the club and how it can benefit the students and what the students could do, and what how important it is to have this at your school or on your campus. So I think that being an advocate for your students is a really important thing to remember, that that's what you are. And I think another thing that Khetam talked a lot about is that you need to be able to delegate the responsibility to the students, that this is the students' club and you're the advisor to help them when they need an advocate, but most importantly, to be able to teach them how to do the things that you know how to do, that you've already at the beginning, you were an advocate for them and you were talking about how important this was for the students. And now you need to give that responsibility to the students and to teach them how to advocate for themselves. And again, you're teaching them these leadership skills that are going to be so important to them in the future. And I think the last top teaching tip that I wanted to reinforce about these ESL clubs is that you're helping them build a family. And I really think that that's important, and so important for students in so many different environments right now, while all of us are online, I think that's really important to be building that family. Even though they can't meet physically, her students are meeting every week online and still having their club meetings and talking about what projects they're going to do. And they're learning to adjust all of those projects so that now they're doing these projects online. I think it's great. And now, and especially as an ESL student, that because she's teaching in Los Angeles, where the students are coming from so many different countries. And sometimes it's hard to have that family feel if you're an international student and you can't, often they're the only ones from their country that are there at the university, or they may be that their family came with them. But most often when you're at college or university in the US, you're the only person from your family in the entire country. And it's really nice to have that feel of a family and a community and someplace that you can go if you're having a problem, something you want to talk about. It's good to have people there that can help you, and they know where to find the resources and the support. And isn't it great that she agreed to do a workshop with us? I'm so excited that we're going to have a workshop from Khetam on how to create an English or an ESL club. And Khetam is going to be presenting with the current advisor, Maria Betancourt. So hopefully you'll be able to attend Laura Connor's workshop on vocabulary acquisition, making words stick. And that one is going to be on December 11th at 10:30 a.m. GMT, which is, of course, 3:30 p.m. for her in New York. And of course, on our website, even if you're not sending us a message, you can also listen to our podcast, go to our website, donate, read my blogs. There's so much you can do at ttelT.org. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. The more people subscribe, the more people subscribe, the more we're able to spread the word about TTELT. And of course, if you haven't already, please join our Facebook group at TTELT and follow us on Twitter at TTELT1 and on Instagram at t.telt. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.